G'day everyone. This is the first of one of many videos, which is quite exciting because we had a chat about this the other day, and we're going to trial this unit, doing it basically online on a Google site. So, as you can tell already by what you see in front of you, this question, should I say, this unit is going to be based on area, and we're going to learn all different things about area. But I think what we really should cover first is, what is it an area? What is an area compared to a distance, compared to a volume? Now, so what I've got here is I've got two things. I've got one, a line, which you should be very familiar with what a line is. And two, I've got a rectangular box that I've coloured in. Now, most of us, when we measure area, we don't really understand. If I say, for example, that this box is 10 centimetres squared, most people don't really understand how that is different to, let's measure this distance here, this 4 centimetre line. Now, how can that be 4 centimetres and that be 10 centimetres squared? What's the difference between the two? And that's really the main question about what an area is. An area is a measure of two-dimensional space. By that I mean, if we look at this line here, we see that this line really only has one direction. It starts here, ends here, it goes that way. Whereas this square, it goes that way, and it goes that way. In other words, it's got length, and it's also got width. Whereas this just has length. And each one of these, which is at right angles with each other, each one of these is what we call a dimension. Okay, it's got length, one dimension, it's got width, that's a second dimension. And so if something is an area, then it takes up both length and width together. Whereas if something's just a distance, it only just takes up length. It only has a length. And we see this magnificent example of a human in front of you right now. I have width, I have length, but I also have this thing called depth. You can reach into my face. And that depth is the third dimension. There's first dimension, second dimension, and third dimension. They're all at right angles to each other. And now we come to probably one of the bigger problems. And it's a hard one to explain, so you really have to follow me closely here. The biggest question that comes across is how many centimetres are there in 1 metre square? Because we know that there is 100 centimetres in 1 metre. We know that to be true. And we know that in 1 by 1 metre, in other words, 1 metre squared, therefore there has to be 100 centimetres by 100 centimetres. In other words, 100 times 100 centimetres makes up, very strangely, 10,000 centimetres squared. So how many centimetres squared are there in a metre? There are actually 10,000. How did we get to that number? Well, it's just in the same before, it's 100 squared. So if we ever need to know how many square units there are, we have to just do the same as what we did before. There are 100 centimetres in a metre, and there are 100 squared centimetres squared in a metre squared. Luckily, even though that was pretty confusing, we can refer to one of these. Your textbook is really nice and it provides this beautiful summary for you. And if you need to get, for example, from centimetres squared to metres squared, all you have to do is just follow the arrows along and just do what the arrow says. So to centimetres to metre squared, you divide by 10,000. From metre squared to hectares, you divide by 10,000. From wherever you're going, you just follow that. I hope this helps.